One we are group 9 and group 15, and I, Sylvia, am responsible for the drama.
My name is Carmen. I'm responsible for the background.
I'm Frank. I'm responsible for story, but Mustafa didn't show up, so I represent him as the symbols of characters.
I'm Kate, and I'm responsible for the plot.
I'm Olive, and I will be acting.
I'm Alpha, and I also be the drama.
I'm Jackie. I'm responsible for the introducing of character.
I'm Amy. I'm responsible for Q&A.
Wow.
And then first is the background of the story. In long time ago, they have a king. He sent her daughter into a town because a ghost said that he will be killed by his grandson. So he think that this way can let her daughter didn't see anyone. But he doesn't know that is those. He changed to be a gold wing and have sex with the princess. So our main character Perseus was born. And after Perseus was born, the king let the princess and Perseus into a box and then sent them to the sea. However, they didn't die because the waves sent them to an island, and they were saved by a fishman, and they lived in the island. And after few years ago, Perseus grew to be a strong boy, and the king of the island, he wants the princess. But the princess was protected by Perseus, so the king want to wrote off the Perseus. So in a way, is a way of the somewhere they have a monster called Medusa, and this is a very terrible monster, and she kills a lot of people. So the king asked Perseus to take Medusa has to be his birthday present. So our story was that.
Okay, then we are going to introduce the characters. First is our main character, Perseus, and he is the Zeus and Daniel's son, and he got exiled by King of Argos, and when he was young, and then he is Andromeda's husband, and after he do all the things, he finally create a country called Marcini, and when Perseus is dead, and he become the Perseus. Then is the Polydus, and he is the king. He is the king of Synagos, and he loved Danius. When he first came into the island, he immediately fall in love with her, and because Daniel always used Perseus to be an excuse to reject Polydus' request. So he very hates about Perseus, and he gave the mission to Perseus, and finally he killed by Perseus. And finally he dead. You can see he slowly turned into stone, and that's how he died. Then is the Daniel, and he is a Perseus' mother, and also he's got exiled because of prophecy. Because of a prophecy, and the content of the prophecy is that the king will killed by his grandchildren. That means it's a Perseus, and when Perseus left from the country to do his mission, Polydes immediately ordered Darius to become his mayor. Then is Athena. Athena is the god of wisdom and war, and he is the one who turned Medusa into the Gorgons. And also, he's the person who gave a shield to Perseus and told Perseus to find grain. There's a lot of people wonder that why Athena will help Perseus, and there's some explanation. First is Medusa always said that he's very beautiful, he's the most beautiful woman in the world, and then that make Athena angry and turn Medusa into the Gorgons. And the second is because Perseus is Zeus' sons, so Zeus ordered Athena to give some useful thing to Perseus and to help him to finish the mission. There is Hermes. Hermes is the god of messengers and travelers, and also he is the one who gave the swords to Perseus. And then is Grants. They are three sisters, and they share with one eye and tooth. And also they tell Perseus to find Stas, and their eyes get thrown into water by Perseus, and they are a little bit weak because when Perseus took their eyes, and they can't do anything, and just tell the answer that Perseus what Perseus want to know. Yeah. And finally, their eyes get thrown into the water by Perseus is because Perseus doesn't want them to contact Medusa. That is Livrus, and Livrus is live in stasis, and they give Perseus a lot of things, something like Hades, Hermes, and magic bats and flying shoes. And Hermes can make Perseus have invisible helmet, and a magic bat can put lots of things in it and anything. And the flying shoe of just like his name, it can help person fly to anyway. Okay.
Next, I will introduce Medusa. He is generally described as a red human female with living venomous snake in place of hair, and he is the daughter of Perseus and Sato. And gazing up on her, hideous face would turn to stone. So if you look at her eyes, you will be stone. And live and die on an island named Sapito, and he is finally killed by Perseus. And that is Atlas, and he was a titan. He was condemned to hold up the sky of eternity after the titanometry, and he asked Perseus to turn him to stone. And the last one is Andromeda, and he's a princess of Ethiopian, and he become ovulation because of her mother, and he was killed by Perseus and become Perseus' wife, and she become Andromeda after she died. And this is she died and she become a star on the sky.
Okay, now it's symbols of characters. And the first one is Acrisius. Acrisius is the king of Argos, and he took drastic action to change destiny. Short of killing his own daughter, he can do nothing to prevent his fate because he wants a son, but actually he got a daughter, Danae. And after he went to a girl to have to predict what will happen to him and his daughter, and the girl say the name will the next son will kill him, so that he wants to prevent his fate, so he sent the net to the sea. He made a box and to throw her inside. And next, the fisherman. Hospitality again proves to be beloved by the gods, and because of his hospitality, he becomes king in the end. Yeah. Okay, and the last one is Perseus. He stands as a prime example of great heroism. He proves honorable and valiant, calm and clever. He values family and loyalty above all else. Yeah. And this one is Medusa. She is one of the most famous mythical beings. She is so terrible that one direct look at her turns a person to stone.
And now is plot and story. And the first one is plot. And I divided plot into 5 parts. And the first one is exposition. And there are also rising action, climax, folding action, and resolution. And the first one, exposition, that means introduction. And the main characters are Semi-god Perseus. And the setting is leaves him for a mission, and many Greek mythology has this plot. And the conflict is that the evil king Polydex sent Perseus to get Medusa's head, so he would die, because Polydex didn't want to do anything with Danae's son, because he wants to marry Danae. And Medusa were very hideous creatures, and she lives in a faraway place, and anyone look into her eyes will instantly turn into stone. And the wrestling action, first one is the gods. Next. This one is Hermes. Next. And this one is Athena. And back. And there are 2 versions of this. First version is that Athena and Hermes, along with 3 nymphs, they as a guardians to protect Perseus and help Perseus. And they gave Perseus some precious gifts. And another version is that all 3 sisters gave the gift to Perseus. And I will stay on the first version. So next. There are a polished bronze shield and an unbendable sword here, and the next, and a winged sandals and a cap that can turn him into invisible, and that cap is from Hades. And next. So Perseus then flew to the home of Medusa's sisters, and with the cap of invisibility, he took their 1 tooth and eye, so he can he can discover the location of the Gorgon's secret lair. And why he take 1 tooth and eye? Because this is the body part of the 3 sisters, and this is a strange policy in this Greek mythology. They will give some body parts to their siblings, and that's really gross. And so Perseus took these 2 and threatened them if they don't tell where is Medusa, and he won't get them back. So, and the next, and back. And the climax is that Perseus made it to the Gorgons as they are asleep, and so he wouldn't turn into stone. And Perseus spotted Medusa's face in the reflection of the shield, and swiftly cut her head off. Next. And the following action is that when he met the evil king laughed at him and asked him about the sack. There's a sack, it's a big bag, and he put Medusa's head in it. And then Perseus put Medusa's head out of the sack and turned Polydeus into stone. And the resolution is that Polydeus turned into stone and Perseus used Medusa's head to defeat all his enemies on adventures. Next. And this is the picture. Yes. And for this main plot, there are two morals. The first one is visible moral, and I will say is that you cannot avoid or alter your destiny because the Arceus, the first one, he has an oracle, and he died eventually in the end, and also the Polydeus died in the end. So, next. This oracle thing is very important in Greek mythology. There are so many stories is about oracle, and the oracle always will become truth. There is no way to alter your destiny. And for example, what we have learned is Apollo's Delphi. And the invisible moral is that Medusa is a thing represents chaotic energy, and Perseus, who is rely on logic and to conquer, and in the end evolving into a true man, and transforming chaotic energies within oneself into power, wisdom and light and true creative force is the invisible moral. Thanks.
Okay, in story, I want to give you more detailed information. The video is talking about how Danae had been treated by her father, how Perseus was born, and the process during Perseus went to kill Medusa. The video is quite easy. I hope you can understand more through it. So let's take a look.
A long time ago, there lived a very angry king. And he was angry because he didn't have a son. So he went to ask the oracle about this, as all people did back then when they had weird questions. But the oracle only told him that one day he would have a grandson who would eventually kill him. Now the king did not kill his daughter because he was afraid of the punishment that the gods might bring upon him for killing one of his family members. So he built a prison at the bottom of the sea to keep her in so that she would never have a son. But one day, a mysterious golden rain fell into her chamber, and the golden rain was Zeus. She soon had a child, Perseus, who was the son of Zeus. So the king put them both into a crate threw them into the ocean to drown. Luckily, the box washed ashore onto an island where it was found by a kind fisherman. Years later, when Perseus was fully grown, the king of the island decided to marry Perseus' daughter. But the king did not want Perseus to interfere, so he devised a plan to get rid of him. He told Perseus that he would love to have the head of a gorgon more than anything else in the world. Later, the king announced that he would be married and invited many people, including Perseus, to a celebration. Everybody but Perseus brought a gift for the bride. He was very embarrassed, so he announced that he would bring back the head of a gorgon as a present. He did not know where to find the gorgon, so he sailed to the oracle of Delphi, but only told him to seek the land of the oak trees. But the talking trees there only told him that he was under the protection of the gods, and nothing more. Hermes soon came to Perseus and gave him advice. He told him that he needed 3 magical items which belonged to the nymphs of the north. Only the gray women knew where the nymphs were, so they had to travel to them and find them. Hermes also gave him a magical sword which could not be bent or broken by the Gorgon's hard scales. Athena also visited Perseus and gave him a reflective shield that he could use to see the Gorgons, for if he looked directly at them, he would be turned to stone. Hermes then led Perseus to the land where the gray women lived. They all shared one eye, so when one woman took it out to pass it on to the next, Perseus stole it and refused to give it back until they told him where to go. He was soon on his way to the nymphs. When he arrived, they gave him a pair of winged sandals, a bag that could fit anything, and a helmet that would make the wearer invisible. Now he was ready, and Hermes led him to the Gorgon's island. Fortunately, they were all asleep when Perseus arrived. Hermes pointed out which one was Medusa, for only she could be killed. So Perseus cut off her head and put it into the bag. But then Medusa's sisters woke up and were extremely angry. But Perseus did not care because he was invisible. So Perseus flew home victorious.
Yep, so that's the main point of Medusa and Perseus, and I hope you can understand and can through the video. And next is acting.
Can you tell us the role you are playing? Which character you are playing? Can you tell us first?
Okay. I am the king, Polytechs.
I'm Perseus.
Okay.
I'm Zeus.
I'm Athena.
I'm Hermit.
And I'm nerd. Okay, action. King heard that through the land he asked that out, but Perseus threw him out the door. That king was such a loud.
How dare you? Every woman in Seraphon would love to marry me.
There are plenty more to choose for you.
It is my island, and
So-
I will marry who I want to.
So you need to offer my dead body.
Okay, you are right. There are a lot of pretty women than the need. Instead, I shall marry to Androma, and every noble man should give me a horse as a wedding gift.
Thanks Zeus for that. We have a horse, okay. Instead, I will bring you a head of the Gorgon, Medusa.
This boy must be bonkers. But this way I will get rid of him and have the knee all to myself. That would be a noble gift, Perseus.
I'm not sure that was such a good idea, Father Zeus. Would you help me, Father Zeus?
Athena, goddess of wisdom, give my son something useful. You two humans, message of the god.
Pretty shy showed and look at the Gorgon reflection is. You will see her, but your soft skin will not turn to the hard rock.
Thank you.
I can lend you my wings so you can fly anywhere you can be.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. But more magical things you need to help you will need a scroll to cut off Medusa's head, and a bed to put her head in, and a helmet to invisibility to hide you. All the things are locked after by the neighbors, but the only ones who know where neighbors live in are the Greeks.
took out and thought about the quickly way to kill her. But smelling him, Medusa stood, he hid behind a pillar. He stabbed her in the guns, and in the neck he pulled her hand. But then Medusa ceased her work, and roared to see her death.
I see you well enough in my field, and I know why you are so ugly, so you will be thrown into a gorge. So I'm back. I win the head.
Ha ha ha, foolish boy. Do you expect me to believe you could defeat that dreadful monster?
Then let me prove it to you.
Okay, let me have a question behind. So, first question is very easy. Who is the present parents?
Zeus and Diana.
Very great. Wait. Zeus and Diana. And next question. Also, it's very easy. Who changed the medicine to the Gorgons? My acting. Yes.
Athena.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. How smart. Next question. How the person killed Medusa? He had a lot of items, from meat, hands, and a lot of. Do you know?
Mirror and sword. Yeah.
And then? Invisible? What is invisible? Tripod?
Shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Invisible something. Something can be invisible.
Green shoe. Help.
Okay, it's okay. So she had a wing shield, invisible helmet, and shiny shield and sword to kill the Medusa. So that's all.
Bow.